morning. We'll open the January 11th commission meeting. February. Yeah, January's over, because we're not doing that again. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Do we have any public comment online or from the room?
Madam Chair, I do.
Yes.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Excuse me. I am Angie Paulson, Broward County Clerk and Recorder and Election Administrator. Just wanted to give you a quick update that we will have a school election. The school board trustee for Townsend School District number 1. We had 2 open positions for a 3-year term and 1 open position for a 1-year term. And those candidates that filed by 5 p.m. on Monday were Jean Hodges for the 3-year term, Jason Cool for the 3-year term, and Chase Reagan for the 3-year term. And then for the 1-year term, we had Judy Gillespie, who will be appointed by acclamation, so she will get that position. And so, are there any questions on that? The date of the election is Tuesday, May 5th, so we'll be working diligently until that election date comes up. Any questions on the school election?
On the school election.
No? Okay. So then I'll move on to the federal primary and general election. We will have those this year as well. There are some county seats that will be open, and I did want to just say what those are, and then the filing fee that is included in that. That filing date will be February 17th. That is when candidate filing opens. Now, this is for the primary federal election. Candidate filing opens February 17th, and it closes Wednesday, March 4th at 5 p.m. I will be posting that information online, and we'll probably be sending something to the newspaper, and you can direct people to my website as well. But just for the public and for commission information, the filing fees that go along with that, so when you file your oath of candidacy with my office, there is a filing fee as well. So for the Justice of the Peace, the filing fee is $353.39. For the Clerk and Recorder, Election Administrator, and Surveyor, the recording fee is $353.39. For the Treasurer and Superintendent of Schools, that number is $355.39. For the County Attorney, that is $721.93. For the Sheriff Coroner, it's $392.01. And for the Commissioner, it is $363.39, so $363.39. And I know those amounts are different, so if you have any questions, please contact me, stop by my office. That is all based on Montana Code Annotated. There's variations. Some offices are combined, and there's this extra equation you have to add in. So that's what I have.
Are those fees the same for same positions in other counties?
It's based on the base salary, so they will not. Well, they could be if we have the same base salary in the other county. But it's the same percentage of the salary in other counties. So that is MCA. It's 0.05% of the base salary in most cases. Like I said, some offices are combined, like the Treasurer, Superintendent of Schools. That filing fee is higher than the Clerk and Recorder, Election Administrator, Surveyor per MCA. So that's set in statute. So.
And that filing time frame is much shorter than it's ever been.
Madam Chair, thank you for bringing that up. It is much shorter, a couple of weeks. And that was legislation that the Montana Association of Clerk and Recorders brought to our legislators, and the reason being is the school election and the June primary election are so close together. Creating the ballot, you know, in times past, if I've had to if there's something not right on that ballot, I have to reorder it. My window to reorder those is so short. We want to make sure we get the ballots out in time. So that's across the state that we needed to shorten that time frame so that our school election is not bumping into our June primary election. So if that makes any sense. Yeah, it's kind of complicated, but it was a good thing. And across the board, that passed across the board for that law to change, shorten that time frame. It's for the preparation of the election, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you guys ever have any questions, I know there's so much information, please come stop by my office. You know, and if I've told you once, come back if you're ever confused. I know there's a lot of steps to take, so I'm happy to help. That's all I have.
Thank you, Angie.
Thank you. Yep.
Is there any other public comment on items not on the agenda that the commission has jurisdiction over? Anything online? I have a couple things. Commissioner Rickmeyer is online with us. She's on Teams, and she'll be joining us. Silos building, possibly purchasing that. It's still in the work. I was asked about it yesterday. It's still in the process of it. There's a lot to that. The funds would come from ARPA funds, COVID funds that were set aside for emergency building. I'm guessing the date that we'll have that back on the agenda will be early March. There's leases of people that have storage units out there. There's a lot to deal with. So the lawyers, Kevin's looking at some things, and we're still working through it. So it's still a possibility. I want to mention this. Commissioner Swenson will jump in there, please. There's a lot of talk about the doors being changed. And again, yesterday that came up. Mm-hmm. It is for public safety. One of our main topics or priorities as commissioners is public safety. That doesn't just mean the sheriff's office. It means public safety for all the residents and our employees. So I appreciate the patience. It is going to stay that way. This is not a temporary thing. There may be changes, additions to it. The back door has the most available parking. We're asking employees not to park back there anymore. There's 2 or 3 or 4 handicap spots there. The elevator is there. This was not something we just decided in one meeting. This has gone on for years. We've had a specialist come and give us safety walkthroughs, suggestions. Most of their suggestions are not feasible in this county for financial reasons or just the building itself. So for right now, that's the best we can do. Appreciate everybody's patience with it. The last thing we want to do is have an incident and then, oh, we should take care of safety. So we are being proactive as we can be. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything to add to that?
Just that if there's any questions, come talk to us. Yeah. Our doors are open, phone call, email, but we're going to be the ones that can answer it the best versus other people in town. So come talk to us.
Oh, sign in. If you have not signed in, please do so. And I just want to personally thank the volunteers and the people who donated to the Super Bowl party at the school Sunday. The Sheriff's Office, great support from your staff. Thank you very much. Some vendors in town donated. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but there were about 45 students. The prizes were, we had 2 TVs and iPads, and it was really great to see kids just hanging out and having fun, and there was lots of pizza. So it was a fun way to watch the Super Bowl, especially since the game wasn't that great. I like the outcome, but not the game itself. Any other public comment? Any other public comment?
I would just say that next week we are at Mako conferences, so there will not be a commission meeting next week.
First thing on the agenda, Carol Hatfield, Broadwater County Parks and Rec update.
Good morning, Commission. Carol Hatfield, CarolHatfield. and I am here to give a brief update on the Parks and Recreation Board. As of January, we've been pretty busy. We've had 2 members resign. We recruited and approved 1 other citizen to be a member, so we have 4 members now. It'd be nice to get another member, so we have an odd number. We updated the recreation plan evaluation and report that was done in 2023. In that report, it stated that the Parks and Recreation Board needed to review annually the projects and the priorities. We did that, and it was approved. We issued 2 letters of support, one for BCDC's grant application to Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks Trail Stewardship Grant for the resurfacing of the asphalt trail north of town here. And I think we're hoping to hear from that in April, I hope. We also issued a letter to the Montana Trail Coalition for trail planning and to be a pilot county. And that's going to be really neat if we actually get it, which I think we will. The BCDC Trail Committee did such an excellent job on their Vision Trail Plan, and the Montana Trail Coalition will actually start us as a pilot in Phase 5 pursuing funding, because we already did scoping and planning and wrote the plan and everything. So it'll be neat. They're going to use the process that BCDC chose and use it with another county on the east side of the state. So we'll hope that we get to hear from that pretty soon here as well. So 3 members of the Parks and Recreation Board are also working with and supporting the BCDC Trail Committee in implementing the Vision Trail Plan, and part of that is also looking at trails that go out to the 2 county parcels of Canton Lane and Centerville. And we're in the middle of finalizing a checklist for citizens to use if they want to come in and propose a project for those parcels of land. And then we're also going to be looking at doing a couple days of cleanup on the Centerville property. The Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks Recreation Trail Grant is due in December, and that Centerville property needs a lot of cleanup, and so we'll probably be doing that throughout the summer so that we can work on survey and design for a trail on that property, as well as maybe a couple other trails out that way. That's all I've got. Are there any questions?
I don't have any.
No, and I would just remind people, if you cannot attend the meetings, they are all live streamed.
Yeah,
Or you can watch them later.
sure.
And they're really great meetings. You guys have done a lot. And I did not realize you have an opening on that board. So we need to spread that word for sure.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested, talk to somebody on Parks and Rec or Nicole Brown or any of us.
Yes.
It's a really good working group and highlight working.
We're making progress.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
So
good
congrats.
to see. Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Sheriff's Office update.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sheriff Nick Rauser, R-A-U-S-E-R. Thanks for the invite, I guess, to come down and kind of give you an update on what we've been doing. We just finished our impound lot a couple weeks ago and got the cars out of the storage units so we don't have to pay for those anymore. Huge shout out to Justin Hovland and Jeremy Leslie. They donated the labor for the concrete, and then Nate donated some of the material stuff, and so did sand and gravel. So huge shout out to those guys to get that done. Saved us a bunch of money, and now we'll be able to not be paying storage units for vehicles. We got a drone from Graymont. They paid for the entire thing. We have one deputy currently that is almost certified to fly it. You have to take a bunch of, you can't just fly them. Apparently, you got to take all these tests and basically learn how to be a pilot, it sounds like. So he is almost done. He's just got to kind of take the final test. So we'll be able to use that. You know, if we got unsafe situations, we could send that in to kind of get a view of what we're going into. If we need it, searches, because we're usually first on scene for those, crime scene photographs, things like that. But I know Captain Buck worked with Graymont, and so we're very thankful for them to help donate that. Our jail project remodel is done. We need to have you guys over to come kind of see what it looks like now. So whatever works for you guys, just kind of let us know. I know you guys are busy next couple weeks. We've had a fairly busy January. I'd say busier than previous years as far as cases and things like that. The usual, trespassing, assaults, thefts, sex assaults, DUIs, a little bit of everything. So, I guess I'll mention this, why I'm here. I had a question yesterday. Obviously in the national news, you see all kinds of stuff with ICE and Border Patrol and immigration and concerns and whatnot. I will say the same thing to everybody, that we are not ICE. We don't have the authority to enforce federal law. However, if ICE does call us and they need assistance, we will show up to back them up, just like I would with any law enforcement agency, whether it's the Forest Service, Highway Patrol, another county, another city, to make sure everyone's safe. So we don't have, I would say, a big illegal immigration problem here in Broadwater County, so I don't suspect that ever being an issue, but I guess I'll just mention it why I am here, that we cannot enforce federal law, and we're really busy with all the things that we do handle. But we will show up and help if they ever are here and need help. Trying to think of what else. Am I missing anything? Huh?
The grant.
Oh yeah. Real quick, you can come up here if you want. The SRO thing, it's still been a hot topic, I guess. I get asked about it all the time. We are still trying to figure it out. It's not something that's gone to the wayside. I have a meeting with the superintendent of the school today at 4, I think. And I think the PTA is going to be there because they're getting, they're very vested in that, and they want to get it back. And then we're working with the commission on, obviously budget stuff and ways to fund some of those positions. So my hope is, it's a hope, that next school year we'll be able to get an SRO back in there. But we're just trying to work out details and how we're going to fund all that right now. And I'll let Under Sheriff Mark Wood, he's been working on some grants, kind of talk about what he's been working on and what they're for.
Oh, Under Sheriff Mark Wood, common spelling, no S, please. You guys, when I came to you with that unforeseen budget expense, you steered me in the right direction, and I want to give a huge thank you to Adam Six, well, you guys, and Adam Six for helping me through the process to get that grant through. Actually, the Rotary helped us out, so huge thank you to them too. And we're in the process of trying to get some more funding for that project with the Broward County Trust Board. So I got a meeting with them on the 24th, so hopefully that goes well. And I'm helping Eric. We're kind of in its infancy, getting a grant through the Trust Board for a search and rescue boat. So we're trying that now. I'm getting some letters of support from local sheriffs, and so those two things we're working on. Like I said, Adam Six was a huge help, and thank you to the Rotary. Can't think of anything else that we got. Obviously, you guys probably know we lost 2 deputies this year through attrition, so we're still trying to mingle our way through that. So I can't think of anything else. That should do it for now. Any questions about the grant stuff?
No, I just want to comment. It was really great to see Tony Cordova and the other deputies at the Super Bowl party and watch them. Those kids have missed him, and they were hanging out together. It was, obviously I'm not in school that much, so it was great to see that. And a lot of the parents then were asking, when can we get a SRO back? And they definitely miss that. So it's a priority for the public too. So thank you.
Yeah, and just to kind of echo that, every once in a while, if he is on shift, I walk through the school, try to in the mornings, he'll come with me, and you can tell that he's missed by especially the kids. I would say number one, they miss him a lot in there. Staff misses him too, and I know parents. So, like we said, we're working towards a solution for that. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's just trying to figure out how and how long, and how obviously you pay for it. Something that I will mention it, I guess. I get asked all the time, especially through that mill levy process. Well, can't you just get a grant for it? Get a grant. And I've looked into it. Grants are not they may help out certain departments within the county. I know there are certain grants do pay for a lot in the county. Our biggest need with the SRO is to pay the wage, and there are grants out there, but they don't pay the wage. The only one that I have been able to find is the COPS grant. It's what we used, I don't know, 5 years ago to get those 2 deputies that we now have. They're not there, but we're trying to work through that. But after 4 years, you have to be able to fund that 100%. So it's not and it's only like $25,000 a year, and it costs roughly $100,000 per deputy a year. So it costs a lot of money to have somebody. But that's what that meeting today with the school is, just to see if they can help. It's hard to say. I know their budgets are tight too. So, but we're trying everything, and I know that we've. I guess when I was gone, you mentioned some of the. What were those funds from the opioid funds? That's why I want to say fentanyl funds. I'm like, that's not
Counties
it.
and states get money from
Yeah.
Manufacturers to educate and prevent
Yeah.
opioid use. So
Yeah.
there's a possibility.
Yep, so there's a possibility of maybe using some of that. However, that does not pay 100% of the wages forever.
And it's a one-time.
Yeah, so it's
or
just
2 years maybe.
it's just a little bit. It helped for a couple years. It's better than nothing. So I'm hoping maybe we can piece 3 or 4 things together and get that back. So, any questions or?
I give Tony Cordova props because the number of kids attending the Super Bowl party was down this year. We still had a lot, but it was down. And we assess that to Tony not being there to promote it for
Yeah.
the weeks heading up to it. That was the only difference.
Yeah. When he's there, I know he would walk around and really try to get kids to come to it.
Yeah.
And it's hard. You got the drug DUI task force. And they're limited in what they can do, and as far as promoting it. So I know flyers got put up. We put something on Facebook, but it doesn't really get seen a lot. And when he's there, he can really go around and talk to kids to come and tell them there's
and
prizes and food, and
Yeah.
so
Thank you to Tony.
yeah, I'll let him know.
That's all I had.
Okay.
I forgot one thing, actually, sorry. I know I told Lindsay this, but I probably didn't tell you guys, but you're probably aware of the fact that the last MSPOA meeting I went to, I was put on a board or a committee with 4 other sheriffs and a lobbyist to, all other counties know that funding for law enforcement is in crisis right now. So we are going to try something with legislation and try to get more funding from the state or however we can do it. So we are working on that. It may take some time, and we haven't even had our first meeting yet, but I wanted to let you know that I'm going to be on that, and we will be working to try to fix our problems. So
Perfect.
okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That's all I
Yeah,
had.
thank
Were
you
there
very
any
much.
questions online? No. Okay. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda, Nicole Brown. Hanson Family Transfer, exemption request. And
Madam Chair, do you mind if I present from the table?
That is just fine.
I suppose that's my first question. I would respectfully request you commissioners to table the Hanson family transfer exemption request for an undetermined date in the future. The reason for that, I had a conversation with our county attorney regarding these family transfers. I know previously I had stated in a public meeting that the family transfer affidavit that was submitted to every county in Montana from the Attorney General's office was to be used as the only document for family transfers. However, after a follow-up conversation with myself, Commissioner Rick Meyer, and our county attorney, it was determined that best practice should be that an exemption application be submitted with the family transfers. So utilizing the exemption application and the family transfer affidavit. I did notify Mr. Hanson via email, and I had a conversation with Mrs. Hanson because her number was the only one I had. So they were aware of this. I did receive correspondence back, letting them know that I needed this application form. I gave them a deadline of Monday at 9 a.m. in order to allow for proper posting. It's a lot of information, but just so you know why it's being tabled. And Mr. Hanson does know that he needs to complete this application. And once that application is submitted, it will restart at day one. And when I say restart, we have this clock mandated by MCA of 20 working days. So it will restart at day one. That doesn't mean that, we'll necessarily need to use all of the 20 working days, but anyway, that's where we are. So to table it until that application can be submitted to my office, and then I will get it back on your agenda.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Do we need a motion to table?
Yeah, let's do. I looked that up and then I forgot to double check it, and that was so last week. So let's just be more official.
Okay.
Lindsay, can you hear us? Okay.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. We can surely hear you.
Sorry.
I would move to table the Hanson family transfer exemption request.
And I will second that. Oh, well, I'll let Commissioner Rickmeyer be the second. There's a delay. There's a motion and a second to table the Hanson family transfer. Any public comment? Any public comment? See no public comment. Oh, yes. Sorry, I rushed it.
Chuck Hahn, HAHN. Not so much on this, tabling this, but a question. A couple of weeks ago, you did a family transfer exemption that you approved that only used the affidavit. How do you handle that?
That's a very good question. I will defer to Nicole Brown.
And Madam Chair, I would respectfully like to defer to County Attorney Kevin Bratcher because I do not know the answer to that. I did consider that.
Yeah,
since it was approved,
Yeah.
and that was the legal opinion at the time. So I will get an answer from our county attorney.
Yeah, I know that, as far as I know, that's the only one that's actually been done that way. So it could be, it could be a liability, I would think. Thanks.
Thank you. Nicole, will you start that conversation with Kevin?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, they're only, Mr. Hunt is correct, there has only been the one that has been approved.
Okay. There's a motion and a second to table the Hanson family transfer exemption request. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda, Nicole Brown, Community Development and Planning Director, Broadwater County Exemption Review Process and Application Amendments.
Thank you. I was looking at an old agenda that had the subdivision regulations on there first, but I forgot I did ask you to switch up that order, didn't I?
My agenda still has it as a
I
subdivision
switched
regs.
it. I made a note, but I guess the agenda wasn't fixed. So let's go back to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
We
How is it
verbally
posted?
discussed it.
Okay, yes.
I think We're fine on time.
We are fine on time.
Yeah.
Just a point of clarification.
Right.
The posted agenda does state subdivision regulation amendments at 10:15 a.m. and then county exemption review process and application amendments at 10:20 a.m. And Commissioner or Chairman Randolph, I did absolutely ask you if we could switch up that order in private, but if I may request during this meeting to switch up that order.
And I think that's fine,
please.
because time-wise, we're fine.
Yep.
Perfect.
We don't want to ever do anything before this time on the
Correct.
agenda.
Okay, so just to clarify, we're going through the exemption review process and application amendments first. Great. So, Chairman Randolph, Commissioners, Commissioner Swenson and I have been working on some subdivision exemption amendments. We're looking at amending the exemption review process and the subdivision exemption application form. These documents were posted online. So if we may first go through the exemption process, I think that would make more sense. This document, again, has been posted online, has been available to the public and you commissioners. This is a comprehensive document that Commissioner Swenson and I, we really walked through the process of a subdivision exemption application and to ensure that the process is very well outlined and that we are actually able to follow the process and make it very clear for the public to know what the expectation is. So this is I don't even want to say an amended document, it's a new document that has been put together. And I'm happy to go through it line by line, but I believe that would probably be redundant since, again, it's been available to the public and you commissioners, but I will serve at your pleasure, Madam Chair.
I am comfortable with you doing the highlights of each form.
Perfect. Okay. So to go through this, I'm just going to go through the topics, essentially the step-by-step process for the subdivision exemption process. So first of all will be the requirement of a pre-application meeting. That would be with myself and the surveyor or the landowner or a representative. It doesn't always have to be the surveyor. The second step in this process will be the submittal of the exemption materials. So this entire list, following item number 2 is everything that would be required by a landowner and or a surveyor to submit to the planning office for consideration of the application. Step 3 is the COS review, and the COS review committee will be meeting in person to go over each of these COSs. This is a new step for us, and we're going to try it and see how it goes. It could prove to be a really useful tool to have this COS review committee actually sit down and go over each of these certificate of surveys. Step 4, corrections to the COS. Basically what that means, it would be mailed back or delivered back to the surveyor to make the necessary corrections. Step 5 is the commission decision, because it is the governing body that makes the decision on the exemption, the approval of the exemptions, the subdivision exemptions. And then step 6 is the filing of the COS. And all of these items, I believe, have been reviewed in the filing category by the clerk and recorder's office. But obviously, if Ms. Paulson has amendments to make, I'm certainly willing to make them. But these are just the items that would need to be recorded with the certificate of survey.
Director Brown, can you, just because it is a new step, a new process, explain number 3 a little bit more?
Absolutely. So the COS review committee would consist of myself, a commissioner, only one commissioner, because it would not be a public meeting in the sense that it would be advertised as a public commissioner meeting. That's not to say, I don't think we made a determination that it would be closed to the public necessarily. It wouldn't be advertised as a public meeting. So one commissioner, myself, she's back. The sanitarian and the clerk and recorder, I believe, were the review committee that we identified. The reason that we didn't put it in this checklist here or this process here, it could change. could be fluid, and we don't want to have to amend the process every time we add or remove someone from that review committee.
Real fast, we did also, if the county attorney's office is available.
That's right. Thank you.
They're going to be
Yeah.
invited, but their schedule's a lot more hectic.
Yes. And the reason we went with Fridays, currently the sanitarian, who's a contracted individual, is in the courthouse on Mondays and Fridays. So Fridays just seem to make sense. So, and obviously, if there are no COSs to consider, then there would be no meeting or no review committee held.
So will the review committee come out of that with a decision or recommendation, or how does that going to work?
Yes, Madam Chair, absolutely not a decision. The only entity able to make a decision would be the governing body at a duly noticed public meeting. So this would be recommendations. And so really what that review committee will be looking at, the survey and any supplemental materials, family transfer, there's an affidavit, and then the subdivision exemption application form, to try to note any potential errors or areas of concern. So not checking the survey for errors and omissions, because we have an examining land surveyor who does that or performs that function. But this committee would be looking to see, let's just say a family transfer. Hey, you know, this is a family transfer, and I'm pretty sure that this individual already transferred to this individual. And so at that point it would be identified. Or if maybe even something so simple as the legal description is off. So really the review committee is just simply going to be reviewing the certificate of survey and the affidavit, the family transfer affidavit, if there is one, and the subdivision exemption application form, and checking for any errors.
In short, it's just, I don't mean just, it's another set of eyeballs on the document to make sure the address is correct, all of those kind of things.
Madam Chair, that is correct, yes. You know, we try, and I say we, myself, the commissioners, I email the sanitarian to kind of have any bumps smoothed out before it gets to the commission meeting, so you're not trying to check for errors and make a decision at the commission meeting. That's not to say that that won't happen occasionally, but this is maybe a better way to make the process more fluid, so that by the time it gets to you commissioners, the only thing you really have to consider, and I shouldn't say the only, but the big thing you have to consider, the main thing you have to consider, is whether or not it's evasion, instead of actually scrutinizing the application, which of course you can do, but then you can have some confidence in knowing that it's been looked at by the appropriate staff.
Makes sense. And many other counties do this. They actually have sit-down meetings to go over this.
And just to touch on that really fast too, we had a meeting, Nicole and myself and our sanitarian, Megan Bullock, we had a sit-down meeting together, and she used to work with Jefferson County, and this is what Jefferson County did, and she had a lot of recommendations for it to kind of help streamline the process to, like we were saying, get the corrections made kind of more on this stage so that when it does come to us at the commission meeting, it's more of a ready document. Hopefully streamline the process a little bit.
I think this is going to be very helpful. We've talked about this off and on for a while. Any other comments or things we need to know about this?
No, Madam Chair. This our process is quite similar to this now, but this is a formal document that the public can look at also and know where they're at in the process. Oftentimes, I know where they're at in the process. You know where they're at in the process, but for the public, they're not sure where their project is, you know, so they're relying on their surveyor to give them good advice, which is still prudent, but at least they can have an idea before they even begin an exemption application to know what the expectation is.
So that brings me that I hadn't thought of this. So after this review committee meets and they decide whatever they decide or suggest, is the applicant notified of that? The review committee has met and has no questions or have questions? What is
Madam-
that communication going to
Sorry.
look like? Sorry.
No, I'm sorry for talking over you. The communication, I envision being very similar to what it is now, as in I have very little direct contact with the applicant. I'm typically working with the surveyor because that makes the most sense. And having one point of contact is very beneficial. So, the surveyor is communicating with their client. The taxpayer has hired the surveyor to work on their behalf. So I have direct conversation and communication with the surveyor. And so any amendments required, I shouldn't say required, requested by the COS review committee, that's where it will jump to number 4 in corrections to the COS. They'll be mailed back or delivered back to the surveyor. So then it's up to the landowner or the surveyor to communicate with the landowner. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. As you were saying that, I just didn't know what if there was going to be a new communication process or not. Okay.
It does kind of say it in the
Yeah.
number 3 too. It says after review, a red line copy will be sent to the landowner and or the representative with required changes, pausing the 20-day review period.
Right.
So, which is important too, because we are held by that 20-day. But at that point, it's on the landowner or the surveyor to get the changes corrected to resubmit the corrected COS.
And with any new process, I think we just need to communicate what we're doing, and it's new, and people are going to have
Absolutely.
questions, so more clarity, the better. Which one do you want to do next?
So this is the exemption process, and I think we have them bundled together, correct? Process and application amendments. Perfect. So put a pin in this. Don't make a motion on it yet, obviously, unless you decide you want to separate them out in your motion. So now I would like to draw your attention to the subdivision exemption form. So this is the application for a subdivision exemption. This is similar to what we were using previously, or what we're using currently. I shouldn't say previously because this has not been adopted. As in all of the pertinent information regarding the landowner, the property, and a basic description of what the landowner is hoping to accomplish is all outlined in this exemption form. We do have on this form on the final page that it would be signed and notarized. I feel that that's important. I know we kind of went back and forth. Oh no, this is not notarized. This one is not notarized. I'm sorry. We did go back and forth, Commissioner Swenson and I, when we were working on this, to have it notarized, but really it didn't make sense to have it notarized because it's not being recorded. Once an exemption, a subdivision exemption, is approved by the county commissioners, I discard this paperwork. There's no reason to hang on to it. It's all electronic. It's been shared electronically. It's not being recorded. So there's really no reason to have it notarized. The family transfer affidavit from the AG's office absolutely is notarized because it is a sworn statement. So that one absolutely needs to be notarized and will continue to be. But this exemption application form really doesn't need to be notarized, which that is a big change from what we have currently. And hopefully to simplify the process for the landowner. And you'll see on here there are types of exemptions being requested. So that is to say that each of these sections don't need to be completed by the landowner. If they're performing a boundary relocation, you fill out the boundary relocation section and ignore the others, as in you're not doing a family transfer or an egg exemption. There's also a list of the required materials that need to be submitted, which is identical to what is identified in the subdivision exemption process. So it's just reiterating the items that need to be submitted. So it's not as lengthy of an application as we require currently, but I believe it still includes all of the pertinent information. One of the items that we did leave off is whether or not there's a lien on the property. And we've had this discussion. When I say we, it was a commissioner and myself, Commissioner Rickmeyer and myself had this conversation with our county attorney. In having the statement of, is there a lien on the property? Well, the county isn't interjecting ourselves into that conversation. That's between the landowner and their lending institution. And so for us to identify whether or not there's a lien on the property is really irrelevant to the conversation that we're having here on the use of the exemption and whether or not it's evasion. The landowner needs to do their own due diligence and justify that or rectify that with their lending institution. But for the county to know if there's a lien on the property is really quite irrelevant, because you're not going to rectify the situation, if that makes sense. So that section was left off. And then a few other questions that are on the current exemption application form were left off intentionally. But I don't have the existing form in front of me, but this I believe captures all of the pertinent and relevant information in order to allow you to make your decision.
What next?
Madam Chair, if you have no further questions of me, I have nothing more to add. So these are the only two items currently for that topic. You absolutely do not have to make a decision today if you feel comfortable making a decision today. I'm prepared to, oh, you don't have, yeah, just to say discussion, a decision. I'm prepared to submit these into the record for adoption, but if you are not prepared to adopt and or approve these two forms today, we certainly can wait.
I have a slight hesitation on approving these today, just because it's the first one that we've looked at, and oftentimes we've found that they're pretty simple. So that's why I say slight hesitation. Any feedback from the public would be great. Those that work in this industry and might want to do an exemption or the survey or whatever. But I also think they're pretty clean and simple. They're more direct than they have been in the past. What are your thoughts?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would agree with you on that. I think I would like to just give people a chance to review, and we tend to find things if we take a little more time, it seems like. So that would be my vote for today, is to just take a little more time with these before you approve everything.
And we will not, again, we won't have a commission meeting next week. And the next week, Commissioner Brickmeyer's gone, but that you could still get your input in if we put this back on the agenda for the 25th.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
There's no rush to adopt
Right.
these. We just noticed that there was an area for refinement, and so Commissioner Swenson and I decided to attempt
No, and
to amend these.
I appreciate that very, very much. And I think they're probably going to be good to go, but more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Absolutely.
Let's put this on the February 25th agenda, please. That gives us plenty of time.
Do you want to open up to public comment now?
Yeah, please. Is there any public comment on the exemption request forms online?
Chuck Hahn, H-A-H-N. I'd just like to stress that with the new affidavit, one of the things it says in that affidavit is that the landowner cannot be compelled to come before the commission, and you don't have the ability to compel them to come up and ask questions. So I really believe that application needs to cover a lot of things, like the criteria for review and that type of thing, because the law has seen some changes, the 76-3207, and part of those changes, the definitions of documented evidence means written documentation. So that application, anything they put in that application is what you're going to have to use to decide whether that is a evasion of the subdivision regulations or not. And also as part of that law, the penalty has been doubled. So there's a lot of issues there, and I think it needs time for the public to really get a chance to look at it and maybe offer some of their thoughts on what should be in that document.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that very much. Any other public comment? Anything online? Okay, we will revisit this February 25th. Nicole Brown. Subdivision regulation amendments.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. So, in December, the Broadwater County Commissioners held a public hearing, and I apologize that I don't have the exact date here in front of me. I thought I had it written down, but the Broadwater County Commissioners held a public hearing to see the proposed subdivision amendments as presented by the Broadwater County Planning Board. This document has been available online for quite some time. In January, we collectively, the commissioners and staff, had hoped to have these amendments approved, but the more we got into it, realized that maybe more amendments were due. So that's why this has languished for a period of time from the date of the public hearing. Because really, once we do subdivision regulation amendments, we really like to ideally let it sit until the next legislative session. That's not to say that's always the case. Amendments can always happen if we find errors. But we really want to have a good working document moving forward. So, Commissioners, I have some additional amendments to the subdivision regulations based on whether or not the board agrees to approve the subdivision exemption application form and process. This document, or this packet of documents, has not been made available to the public. This is just a working document that I have put together. All of this to say, I really, really do not want you to make a decision today because I think more work needs to be done. And I really would like to see another public hearing be held since we are so far away from our December, I want to say 17th.
I think it was November.
Was it even November? Okay,
November
wow.
24th.
Okay. We're so far away from that public hearing. I think it's really important to hold another public hearing, and because I have additional amendments based on whether or not you choose to approve the subdivision exemption process. Also, MACO, Montana Association of Counties, has presented each of the 56 counties in Montana with some model subdivision regulations to capture the legislative amendments. And I have not had an opportunity to compare those two. That document, I believe, came last Thursday from MACO. And so I started, as in I'm in the definition section, of doing dual screen side-by-side comparisons to make sure that we're capturing everything. And not to say that we want to mimic the model subdivision regulations, but to make sure that nothing is missing from our regulations that absolutely needs to be included. So, Commissioners, with that, I would like you to consider a public hearing sometime towards the end of March. I know I had a conversation and I thought that maybe we could do this public hearing the first meeting in March, but I really would like more time to work through these amendments. So if I may ask you to pause the approval of these amended subdivision regulations until another public hearing can be held, and I would like that public hearing to be held sometime toward the end of March in order for me to draft my proposed amendments. First of all, to compare with the MACO model regs, draft my proposed amendments, have them posted online, and post in the newspaper at least 15 days before the public hearing is to be held. Okay. There's a lot of deadlines there to hit and meet. So the end of March is really not that far away. And so anyway, if I can request a public hearing of this commission body for the last Wednesday in March, I can get that notice sent off to the paper. It has to be not less than 15 days, but not greater than 30 days notification, and then posted twice. So.
I think that sounds like a plan, and we can always, we have the option of doing the public hearing at the beginning of the meeting and then making a decision. We could have the public hearing one meeting and then the next week make our decision. So there may be more time in there for public comment. You good with that?
Yeah, I was actually, last night I was laying in bed
Yeah.
thinking about this, and I agree. I think the public hearing was so long. There's nothing in statute saying when you have to make the decision after the public meeting, which is kind of strange. But it's so long ago that I would feel a lot more comfortable with doing that anyways. So that's perfect.
Commissioner Rickmeyer?
Yes, I would agree.
Okay. Let's work on that then.
All right, so commissioners, I will be scheduling a March 25th public hearing for 10:05 a.m., as is typical, to make it be the first item on your agenda. You all are planning, you don't have any conferences planned for that week. There's no reason that that wouldn't work. Okay,
Check with me as soon as we get back to the office.
I will.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think it's going to be good. But
okay. So March 25th, 10:05 a.m., public hearing.
Okay.
Pending each of you looking at your
Yeah.
calendars, correct? Okay. Perfect. So no motion on that one either.
Just
Which I thank
kicking
you
the
for.
can.
I thank you
You're
for.
just kicking
No,
the
that's, it's making sure that this is a
I know.
thorough
Well-
and vetted process.
No, my hesitation, I was at a meeting yesterday, and there's a forestry, public lands conference I may want to go to, and I can't remember the date. So, but I'll let you know as soon as I get back in the office. Anything else, Nicole Brown? Next item?
Next item.
Next item, Nicole Brown, Community Development and Planning Director, Koblenz Family Transfer. If needed, unless a decision was made February 4th.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I would respectfully request that you table this discussion until the exemption application can be submitted, very similar to what I stated with the Hanson family transfer. I had a conversation via email and in person with Mr. Koblenz, so he is aware that this exemption application needs to be completed and submitted, and once it's submitted, the clock restarts at day 1. I have not received this item yet. Again, he had a very similar deadline of 9 a.m. on Monday in order to allow for appropriate posting. That date came and passed, and I actually had a conversation with him at 9:05 on Monday morning, which was lovely, and he understood why it was being tabled. And when I say tabled, that means that they're not being required to pay a new fee.
Right.
This is just a continuation, but the clock will restart at day 1 for them once that's received. So I do not have a suggested date because I've not received the information.
Right. Is there a motion?
I would move to table the Koblenz family transfer exemption request.
I will second that.
There's a motion and a second to table Koblenz family transfer. Is there any public comment? Any public comment online? In the building? No? Okay, there's a motion and a second to table Koblenz family transfer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, we will table that.
Thank you, Commissioners. Anything further of me before I retreat back to my office?
You don't want to stay and listen to the minutes and the...
I appreciate what you do, but no thank you.
It's pretty exciting.
Riveting. Have a good day, Commissioner Rickmeyer.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe the last items we have are minutes to approve, and I'm going to do that. We have all looked at these, made edits as needed. November 4th, December 17th, January 7th, meeting number 1 and number 2, January 28th, and February 4th.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
did you say November 4th? That should be
20
November 24th.
I thought I said 24th, but I
You
may
might
not
have.
have. I may not. November 24th is written down. Who knows what I said?
Thanks.
Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the minutes as stated.
I will second that.
There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes on the dates submitted. Any public comment? Is there any public comment? See no public comment. There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes from November 24th, December 17th, January 7th. There were 2 meetings, January 28th and February 4th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. We will sign those as soon as we're done. We have claims for today. The first set is for $22,404.14. The second set, excuse me, is for $11,670.15. And the last set is payroll, $285,210.75. Is there a motion?
I would move to approve the claims as stated.
I will second.
Any public comment? There's been a motion and a second. Any public comment? Seeing no public comment. All those in favor of approving the claims in the said amount signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. That is all I have on my list. Anything else from the commissioners?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. We will adjourn at,
No, thank you, guys.
oh, thank you. Have fun.
Thanks.
See ya.
All right, thanks. Bye.
11:03.